Officials in Columbus, Ohio are calling for patience and due process following the police-involved shooting death of a teenage girl. It's a complicated case. The girl, Ma'Khia Bryant, was swinging a knife at another woman when police arrived at the scene, and the Ohio Bureau of Investigations has begun a probe. But LeBron James has no time for due process. He wants that cop's hide now. James tweeted out a picture of the officer to his nearly 50 million followers with a simple and direct message: "You're next." Senator Ted Cruz of Texas is here now to react. Senator Cruz, what is your reaction to this tweet from LeBron James?
Well, you know, unfortunately, this is a pattern where the left consistently goes after, attacks, and demonizes police officers, and they do so often before the facts are known, often before there's any evidence of what happened. But their immediate reaction whenever there's an incident is the police officer's in the wrong, the police officer is the villain. In this instance, "you're next" could certainly be interpreted by some even as a call for violence. And I think it was a grossly irresponsible message for LeBron James to send out. And we've now seen the body cam footage from what occurred, and by any measure, it was a volatile situation. The woman who was killed was wielding a knife, was violent, appeared to be threatening the lives of others. It may well be on an investigation that this police officer saved the life of a potential victim of a knife attack. And we shouldn't jump to conclusions. There needs to be an investigation. Anytime there is a shooting that takes someone's life, it should be investigated. The facts should be determined, but the left doesn't care about the facts. They care about demonizing and attacking law enforcement, and I think it's wrong.
You know, Senator, I know that you're someone who cares a great deal about the degree to which we've seen these capitalist entities, American companies, engage in politics in recent months in a way that they really haven't before, taking sides on culture war issues in an unprecedented way. Obviously, the NBA was one of these entities in the past. But one of the things that I'm concerned about is what is to be done, what can be done to push back and to brush back these American corporations that seem to really have as their priority list these woke issues and these frankly anti-law enforcement, anti-law and order approaches when it comes to their engagement with politics.
Well, the past month in particular has been really ominous in that we've seen the rise of the woke corporations. We've seen giant companies readily enlisting to be the enforcers of Democrats and the extreme left remaining in power. And look, I think many CEOs, particularly CEOs at big companies, they're risk averse. They're scared. And the left has invested for over a decade. They've invested in infrastructure where they have lists of left-wing employees at every big company. They have lists of left-wing shareholders at every big company. And they've learned that these CEOs act like scared little children, that if they get a few of their lefty employees or a few of their lefty shareholders pounding them, that they just make the decision to give in. And right now, I think even for the most apolitical of CEOs, as they look at the cost-benefit analysis, the costs and the benefits of giving in to the woke left-wing mob exceed what they perceive to be the cost. But a reckoning is coming, I believe. We saw Delta Airlines do this and give in Atlanta in a way that was shameful. We've seen Coca-Cola do it. We saw, I think most disturbingly, Major League Baseball yank the All-Star game out of Atlanta and move it to Denver. And I got to say, Ben, it really does illustrate how absurd and unconnected to substance these moves are. Atlanta is 51% African American. They moved it to Denver, a city that is 9% African American, because they're such woke social justice warriors that they're going to take $100 million out of the pockets of the African American small businesses and workers in Atlanta. It makes no sense. It's dangerous, and I do think there is a strong backlash that is building, because the American people, when you go to a baseball game, you're not interested in their lecturing you on left-wing politics. You'd like to see people play a game of baseball.
Well, the thing that I'm concerned about, Senator, is that we have these handful of institutions that still unite us in American life. And we see them being torn apart by this woke leftism, which is taking over all of these different entities that had been unifying elements of American life, that we could all go to a baseball game together and cheer alongside each other regardless of race, of religion, etc. To me, this is something that has to be solved from the bottom up, from the communities, and we need these corporations to get back to being, in the business of being American companies. What can you do as a politician to try to force them into that lane as opposed to the direction that they're going that seems fundamentally anti-American?
Well, you could call them out, you can shine a light on them, and you can also end any special subsidies or benefits they get. When Major League Baseball moved the All-Star game out of Atlanta playing naked politics, I joined with several other senators in introducing legislation to revoke the special exemption from the antitrust laws that Major League Baseball gets, that no other sports league gets. That's an example where you don't get to come and get subsidies from the government while you're playing politics. Beyond that, shining a light is really important. Last year the NBA decided they were going to get very political. They put Black Lives Matter on the courts, and their profits plummeted. The phrase "go woke, go broke," I think that is a potent deterrent. And I think there's going to be a lot more discussion about how not to patronize companies that decide half of America, they don't care about us, they don't want our support. There need to be consequences for that.
Republicans buy sneakers too, of course. Thank you so much, Senator Cruz, for joining me tonight.
Thank you.
Coming up, the new Cold War against China heating up. How Beijing is beating us on the cultural battlefield. Newt Gingrich is standing by on this one, straight ahead.